Hi, third graders. Miss Tobin here, hoping that you're doing well. I wanted to walk through another math strategy with you, and it will be a review and a refresher for most of you. So this one is called drawing a picture using base 10 blocks. So I'm going to show you some tools that I have over here, some manipulatives. This tiny little thing is a block. We call them base 10 blocks because 10 of these would equal a stick, right? And the reason why we call them base 10 is because when you're talking about place value, there's a ones place, then it goes tens place, hundreds place, thousands place, 10,000s place, 100,000s place, and so on. So these are called base 10 blocks because the unit of measurement that we're using is 10. So 10 of these equal a stick of 10, okay? Then if you have 10 sticks, they actually equal 100. Because 10 tens would give you the amount of 100. It goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And even if you line them up, you can see that there are 10 sticks that equal one of these, okay? So this is 100, and if we have 10 hundreds, this is crazy, but if we have 10 of these, and you stack them together, you will have 1,000 altogether. Now this looks like a cube that would be super fun to play with, but this is a tool to show us what 1,000 blocks look like. Just like this. Oh, I dropped it. What 1,000 of these look like. And it would look like this if we stacked them all together, okay? So just to review, this is one little block, one little unit, and if we have 10 of these, it equals what we call a stick of 10. 10 of these would equal a square of 100, right? And then if you have 10 of these, it would equal a cube of 1,000. So the reason why I wanted to use those terms is because we are going to be using those terms as we draw a picture for our math problem. It's going to look very easy and very simple because our focus today is to make sure that instead of the math tripping us up, we focus on the strategy to help with the math, okay? So we're gonna make it a super easy math problem. So if you already know the answer, just stick with us so we can get through the strategy. So we are going to be figuring out 1,350 minus 100. Okay, 1,350 minus 100. Now, instead of me getting all of my tools and all of my manipulatives out and making, and like having handfuls of blocks and cubes and stuff, we are going to draw a picture to show the amounts that we have on the top and on the bottom, okay? So if we have 1,350, I'm going to start by drawing what 1,000 looks like. I'm looking at the thousands place, okay? So right here, I have 1,000. So if this represents 1,000, how many do I need of these? Well, it tells me I need 1. So what I'm going to do is give my best and draw a cube, and then I'm going to write 1,000 in the cube, okay? Just like that. Pretty good. Good job, Miss Tobin. All right. So then once I have drawn a picture of what the thousands place looks like, I'm going to show the hundreds place. Now a 3 is in the hundreds place, and here's the question that I ask if I'm using a draw a picture strategy. I say, how many hundreds do I need to draw in order to represent this number right here? So there's a 3 in the hundreds place. That's telling me I need 3 squares that represent 100. So 1, 2, 3. If I use my key that I was telling you before, if these represent a cube and these squares represent 100, I bet right now you can already see an amount if you put these together. So I know I have 1,300 represented so far, right? 1,300. I see 3 of these squares. They represent 100 each, okay? So right now I have 1,300. But I'm not done yet because I do have something in the tens place. So after I go thousands, hundreds, I go to the tens place. Right now we have a 5 in the tens place, so that's telling me how many tens I need to draw. And once again, this is called a stick of 10, okay? We just say that for this strategy so that way you can remember, okay, cube, square, stick, dot, okay? So let me show you what the tens will look like if I have a 5 in the tens place. So I'm going to draw 5 sticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to cross it like a tally because that is a totally different strategy. So far I have 1 cube, so that's 1,000. 3 squares, that's hundreds. 350. Now the next step, if I go from thousands, hundreds, tens, I ask, what do I have in the ones place? Do I need to show any dots up here? And if it's a 0 in that place, we don't have to draw anything for that place, okay? So there will be no dots that we draw for this math problem because there's nothing in the ones place. However, we do have the cube, we have the squares, we got the sticks. All right, so now we're moving on to the bottom number. This one's representing the top number. Now we move on to the bottom number. We have 100. Now, a very important thing to remember when you're using this strategy is you have to follow the place values, okay? If you look at this number, 100, is there anything in the thousands place? No, there isn't. And even as I lined it up, do you see how there's a space right here that has nothing in it? So that means I won't draw any cubes like I did on the top part. So if my thousands place doesn't have anything, I go to the next highest place value, which is the hundreds place, okay? So 4 hundreds, we draw a square, okay? How many squares do I need to draw to represent the hundreds place? There's a 1 in the hundreds place, so I just draw 1 square. And to help me out, I'm going to make sure that as I do my math up here, I'm lining up and kind of putting in the same area the places that I have. So instead of putting it right underneath the cube, I'm going to put it underneath the other hundreds. Okay? So here's 100. Then I look to my tens place. Do I need to draw any sticks of 10 for my bottom number? No, I do not, because there is a 0 in the tens place. Okay? So I'm not going to draw any sticks. Then my next question, go to the next place value, it's the ones place. Do I have any amount of ones in this number? Well, I have 100 ones, but we've already represented it in the square, okay? So we don't need to draw any dots on the bottom, just like we didn't have to draw any dots on the top. And that makes sense because I've got a 0 in the ones place for each of these numbers. So now you have to ask yourself, am I combining or am I taking away? Does one number, the number on the top, have to give to the bottom number? And let's see. Our math symbol is subtraction. It's a minus, okay? So we're going to be taking the bottom number away from the top. All right, so this is how I do this for the strategy. I ask myself, do I have enough in the top to give to my bottom? Do I have 100 square that I can give? Kind of like they're canceling each other out, okay? If this one needs 100, you're going to look at the top number and see if you have that to give. Do I have a square? I do. So I'm going to cross it out. And I'm going to cross this one out. They're going to cancel each other out, okay? So if I was trying to find this in the top number, I want to show what is happening, okay? So I'm going to cross that out. Now you ask yourself, what is left, okay? So I have a cube to look at. I've got the squares. I've got the 10 sticks. So I'm going to combine it again. We just broke it up, right? I'm going to combine it and find my difference. So I'm going to start over here. Start with the highest place value so you can work your way across, okay? So we have 1,000. And then let's count how many hundreds we have. How many squares? 1, 2. If I have 2 hundreds, 2 squares, what do I have in all? 200. Great. 1,200. And I think we're not done because, look, we haven't dealt with the squares or the sticks yet. So look at the sticks. How many do I still have? I still have 5. Now, if these sticks represent 10 cubes each, we're going to have to count by tens to figure this out, okay? So 5 of them. So let's count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I have a 5 in the tens place still, and the value of the 5 in the tens place gives me 50, okay? So my answer is, can you see that okay? My marker's going out. Oh, no. I've been teaching remotely too long. Okay, 1,250. That is my answer.